and welcome to my channel, Changing the Face of Fibromyalgia. I'm Jessica, and I am so excited to come to you today in my very first video on my channel. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you get some great information out of the many videos to come and this video as well. And if there's anything in particular that you'd like to talk about, please comment below. So today's video is going to be about what is fibromyalgia, question mark, and what are its symptoms. Fibromyalgia, fibro meaning fibrous, and algia meaning tissue. Put them together, fibrous tissue. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit the illness. I don't even know how they came up with that, quite honestly. Fibromyalgia can be very complicated. Number one, there is not many doctors in the field that understand what fibromyalgia is, what it's caused by. They do not spend enough time on researching it. They basically come to the conclusion that we have all over chronic pain, we have sleep issues, we have inflammation, and so majority of the time when you go to your doctor's appointment and you're wondering what's going on, they do two things. One, they can just say, oh, fill out this questionnaire and we'll let you know if you have fibro. Or they do the touching on the trigger points on the body, and if you have 11 tender trigger points out of 18, they say, okay, you have fibromyalgia. I honestly know that enough time is not spent on diagnosing us correctly, and then when they do diagnose us, they throw medication after medication at us, and they usually say, let's try this, let's see if this works. Not that there's any proof behind it that this medication will work or that you're going to be feeling better in no time. Trust me, I have tried every medication possible to feel better, to ease my symptoms, and some of those medications would include Cymbalta, Lyrica, gabapentin, Lexapro, amitriptyline, trazodone, Ambien, tizanidine, Xanax, Ativan, Klonopin, a wide range of pain medications. So I have tried them over and over and over again. And in the beginning of my illness, I really resisted medication. I did not want to be adding more stuff to my body, and quite honestly, the side effects that were out there for it scared me. But I came to a point where the pain was just getting worse, and I was just going downhill, and I was frustrated. And at that point, I was willing to try anything. So I did. I went to my doctor and I said, okay, I'm prepared to try some medication. So that's what we did. I also was referred to a rheumatologist. The first rheumatologist I went to, he walked in. I said, I have fibromyalgia. He says, how do you know that? I said, well, I was diagnosed with a positive ANA speckled autoimmune test, and it's been determined that I have fibromyalgia. He said, okay, wrote me out a prescription for Cymbalta, wrote me out a prescription for Lyrica, and said, follow up with me in 30 days. That's literally what I got. Less than 5 minutes. And I was infuriated and frustrated and let down, and I was at the end of my rope. So I went back to my DO, and he suggested another rheumatologist. He said, I want you to go see this rheumatologist. He's great. You'll really like him. And my first appointment with this rheumatologist, I walked in. He was in right away. He did all the touching on my tender trigger points, pushed all over my body as I'm screaming, ow, 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 ow. And he goes, okay, you have fibromyalgia. Well, duh. I mean, I had an positive ANA speckled test. I know I have fibromyalgia. What are we going to do about it? So, gabapentin it was. Good old gabapentin. The great thing about gabapentin is that it's a neurotin. And if you don't know what a neurotin is, please research it. Look it up. It is so damaging for the brain, and it's an anti-seizure medication. They use gabapentin for fibromyalgia because they say it's going to help with our nerves and our nerve pain. I was on 1,800 milligrams twice a day. No, that's a lie. I was on 1,800 milligrams for the whole day. I was completely and totally flabbergasted about how much worse I got. My memory went completely down the drain. I began to shake uncontrollably, and this is after about being on it for about a year, and I was shaking. I would pick things up, and then they would just fall out of my hand. It's not like I just went bloop. They just fell out of my hand. I could not understand what was going on with me. I wasn't really contributing it to the gabapentin. I was contributing it to my illness. I was wrong. So I was also on the Lexapro for IBS. If you're not sure what IBS is, it's irritable bowel syndrome. And if you're lucky like me, you either have diarrhea or constipation, or diarrhea constipation every other day, and you're just not sure what you're going to get to. I have had IBS so bad that I knew every single stop from home to wherever destination I was going to that had a restroom that was clean and I could get into fast. Even if I was on the highway, I knew what exit I could pull off of to go to the restroom. It's a sad way of living. It then got to the point where my anxiety ramped up when I knew I had to leave the house. I was having anxiety about leaving the house because I might have diarrhea all over myself, or the cramps might get so bad. I did keep an extra change of underwear in my glove compartment. I kept an extra set of clothes in my back seat. That's how bad it got. And then if I didn't have diarrhea, I had constipation. Constipation so bad that it would literally back up to underneath my breast. My stomach would be huge. I looked 9 months pregnant and I would waddle, and the pain in my gut was unbearable. And I cannot tell you some of the things that I have had to do to get myself unconstipated. And it's not pleasant, and I'll spare you those details, okay? Completely spare you those. I've had insomnia for a couple of decades. I do have 2 children, and you would think, okay, she's going to sleep because she's exhausted. You would think that? I haven't had a good night's sleep in a couple of decades. And I can either fall asleep, and then I wake up throughout the night, or I stay awake until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I get a couple hours sleep, and then I'm awake, and I'm going again. And it's exhausting. So I then was put on several sleep medications. I've tried so many, and none of them worked. I've tried trazodone, amitriptyline, which amitriptyline is an antidepressant, just so you know, but it's supposed to help with sleep. I've tried trazodone, temazepam. I've tried them. They don't. Lunesta, they don't work. They do not put me to sleep. And if they do affect me in some way, and the worst one being Ambien, if they do affect me in some way, it's normally hallucinations, or my brain is completely asleep, but my body is awake, and I'm walking around, and I'm eating Raisinets in the middle of the night as I wake up in the morning and find a trail of Raisinets to the bathroom. So that's how I knew I was eating in the middle of the night, and it got much worse than that. I'll spare you those details too. So as you can see, this illness is complicated. There's lots that goes along with it. Some other symptoms that you may be experiencing is you could stutter, you could have a raspy voice, fast heart rate or a low heart rate, flipping and flopping of the heart. The biggest one that a lot of women will say is their worst nemesis is brain fog. And let me just say, brain fog is the worst. Talk about feeling like you're going crazy. You feel like you're living in another planet. Like your body is here, but your brain is like, poof, gone. There have been times that I wasn't sure how I got home from work. I would be out and about running my errands and be lost in my own city that I live in and have lived in for 22 years. I've been walking up my own stairs in my house and thought, am I going up or am I going down? Of course, you have that put the milk in the pantry instead of in the refrigerator, and you find pasta that's supposed to be in the pantry in the refrigerator. You lose your keys, you can't find your keys, and you just don't know whether you're coming or going. The next part of brain fog is that you could be speaking and you know the words that you want to say, but they just do not come out. And I have experienced that on numerous occasions, and I feel like an idiot. I will be sitting there speaking my English language, and either the word comes out jumbled, or I use a whole nother word entirely that doesn't even fit what I'm talking about. So frustrating. So don't think you're going crazy. You're not going crazy. It's just a nasty symptom. Migraines, intensive headaches. Maybe they start at the base of your skull and go up and around. Or are you having a lot of ear pain on either side? You go to the doctor and they're like, you don't have an ear infection. You know, there's nothing wrong with your ear. Yes, there is. It's throbbing and it hurts me. How about TMJ? If you don't know what TMJ is, look it up. It is... It's a fun symptom to have. Your jaw gets locked up. You can feel it clicking. You may grit your teeth in the middle of the night, or like clench your jaw in the middle of the night, and you wake up and it's really sore. How about facial like pressure, sinus pressure? You feel like your face is going to explode. Yeah, been there. So the migraines, of course, can get very, very bad, not to mention the all-over pain in your body. It is excruciating. It never stops. The pain never goes away. Ever. You wake up in pain. You go to bed in pain. Everything that you do, you are in pain. It hurts to touch on certain parts of your body, or if you're like me, it was all over my body. Even in weird places, my collarbone, if you pressed on that, parts of my ribs, it would just send me into orbit. It even got so bad that my kids couldn't even hug me anymore. I would still hug, of course. I love my boys. But it hurt so bad. I always flinched when someone was coming near me or even thought about hugging me. Like I could see it on their face. They're going to hug me. They're going to hug me. They're going to hug me. They're going to hug. Yeah, and flinching. It's bad. So we talked about the insomnia and all over pain. How about itchy? You're just itchy and you can't figure out why you are itchy. I took hydroxyzine, which is Atarax, for my itchiness, and nobody could figure out why I was itchy. I've been itchy for years. I don't have any rashes on me. No explanation whatsoever. Tested out the wazoo. No explanation. So, Atarax it was. Benadryl didn't cut it. So, as you can see, there are a ton of symptoms that go along with fibromyalgia. I can go on and on about them. Tender feet, joints that click, lots of swelling in your joints. Your fingers are swollen. They hurt to bend. Your toes hurt to bend. Muscle spasms. Oh, bad muscle spasms. Electrical shock feeling like in certain parts of your body or even in the side of your head. Your hair can even hurt. Hair isn't supposed to hurt, but your follicles will hurt. You could also get to the point where clothes just become bothersome. I'm going to talk about something a little bit embarrassing. Okay, as a woman, you know, we've got to have all the underclothing, the underwear and the brassieres, and they become painful. So then you start looking for more comfortable ways to make yourself comfortable and decent. You just find that clothes irritate you. Just the touching on your skin is annoying and aggravating, and you just got to get it off of you. So you'll find that you're going towards looser fitting clothes, or finding, like my favorite is leggings without the seams in them. Those are the best because the seams don't dig into my legs. It's unreal. These symptoms will keep going. And the funny thing is that when I first started with fibro, I had the trigger point pain, I had some insomnia, and that was just about it. And as the years went on, symptoms just kept adding on top of symptoms, and they kept getting worse. And I just could not understand, why is nothing working? Why is it that the doctors cannot figure out how to fix me? I began to question, like, why isn't this illness being researched? Like, why is it not being given the attention that it needs? There is 1 in 50 women and men affected by fibromyalgia, and of course, it's more women than it is men, but men do suffer with it as well. 1 in 50. That's 6 million people. That's a lot of people. And of course, like I said, when you go to the doctor, you're going to tell them what's going on. They're either going to have you fill out a questionnaire or fill all over your body, ask what kind of symptoms you're having. Oh yeah, you have fibro, take Cymbalta. Here you go. Let me know how that does for you. You got to give it plenty of time to get into your system. And then when you do go back and say, I feel like this is making me crazy, like, oh, you didn't give it enough time. Try it some more. Now, I'm not saying that Cymbalta doesn't work for anyone. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it does not work for me. And it does not work for a lot of people with fibromyalgia, because there's something else underlying that's causing our fibromyalgia. And I really got to the point in August 2017 that I had had enough of doctors throwing medication at me. I had had enough of being a guinea pig, and I took a stand and became my own advocate. And in the videos to follow this one, I'm going to tell you exactly what I started doing to heal, what I found in my body was going on that was causing the fibromyalgia pain. And I'm here to tell you there is hope. There is complete hope. And you're probably wondering, well, if you know what it is, why don't the doctors know what it is? There's many different answers to that question. One being, doctors accept insurance, and they get 10 minutes to spend with you to be paid through insurance, and then they give you a medication, and you guessed it, there's a kickback. Now, I'm not saying that doctors are not sympathetic or have empathy to what we feel. They just don't understand it. And that's one of my missions, is to get doctors to understand, to treat us with dignity and respect. I have been in some doctors' offices, and the very first one that did this to me shocked me. It just completely floored me. He told me that I needed to grow up. I was having muscle spasms right in front of his eyes. My fingers and my toes had locked up. He could see that. He could see I was stuttering. He could hear me. And I was in the hospital, the place where you think you're going to get help, the place where you're like, I need answers. Please help me. And he told me I need to grow up. He gave me 2 shots of Ativan and told me to grow up. So that's when I became on a mission, started my journey, and said, this can't happen anymore. We are either treated like a drug addict, because when the medication gets into our system and we go through withdrawals, we're trying to figure out what's wrong with me. We go to the doctor, oh, I'm not giving you any more of that. And there's no help there. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And it dumbfounds me that even in the United States, that we go for help and we don't get help. We just get told, this is what's wrong with you. You're going to have to deal with it because you're going to have it for the rest of your life. There's no cure for it. There's nothing we can do. We can try you on these medications, but that's just about it. So you're going to have to learn how to cope with it. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to learn how to cope with it. There is help, and you can heal. So please, I will upload new videos every Monday and Thursday. Please subscribe to my channel, and if there's something that you want to hear me talk about, comment below, and I'll definitely plug that into a video. So thank you so much for watching, and I want you to come back for more. I'm going to give you even more answers, and I do hope this video helped, and thank you again.